and I just don't have the other one to reference. So if you go down under skilled nursing facilities, the definition, it talks, in the first sentence, it basically discusses a healthcare facility that would require a higher level of medical care that can be provided in a nursing home or assisted living facility. And then it goes to the care that would be necessary to give to those patients or those people that need supervision or oversight. And I think the same language is under the next, under memory care, and it basically parroted that, which talked about staff of skilled nursing professionals who offer specialized dementia care. And the reason this gets very confusing, as you're looking through it, maybe you should probably let them read it first. Would you like to do that?
Yep.
Make more sense.
Well, go ahead. Go keep talking. I can follow it.
This is so confusing and so overwhelming if you try to go through all the language and all the rules, that it is very easy to become overwhelmed with certain definitions. For example, you can have memory care with just assisted, and that would be, for example, a low level where people might be a little forgetful, but they're not really in the unfortunate throes of really having lost their memory completely and needing someone to oversee that. So the lower level would be assisted. The higher level would be people that are actually there to oversee and
Right.
care for those people that really require that type of oversight so they don't wander off or just hit the road, because it does happen, believe it or not. And it's basically all laid out there. As an aside, because I'll do my best to answer any questions you have after you read it. I did speak to two owners of facilities and several people that run facilities, and particularly in the Seacoast area, there's a very large amount of this product being built right now. In fact, when I spoke to the person in Dover, they were like, "We're building in Newmarket." I don't know if we're doing anything right now, but I gave her the gist of it. And they said, "We can't even get help now." And I said, "Well, I understand, and we're just working on some language for an ordinance for something." And the basic feedback I got from this individual was staffing is a big challenge. The North Country, on the other hand, doesn't have many facilities at all. But down here, as I think everybody knows, they're talking about, I don't know, several hundred units, 400 units maybe in Durham. There's another one being done by Chinburg. There's another one being built in Dover. There's a lot of product being built. So I guess what I attempted to do, based on the conversations with the, obviously the EDC and all the meetings we had, and the last planning board meeting, is not end up with a product that might end up going upside down and then being converted into something else. And these types of facilities that require skilled nursing and oversight and a skilled staff and 24-hour supervision, which is really the higher level of care that is required, are not the types of facilities that get changed from, oh, it didn't make it, and now we're going to build this. They usually stay what they are. They do their marketing. They make sure there's a market for it. So in theory, you don't end up having, oh, it didn't work out, but we have 75 or 80 units that we built, and now we have to do something with it, and then you have apartments or something else that gets converted to. So, I don't know how else to say it other than what I said. So if anybody, I'll do my best, but I didn't really plan on giving a dissertation. I did my best to get information.
That's fine, thank you.
I
think
while you were chatting, I went through and started redlining it, and if you'd like me, the benefit of the board, to kind of highlight what those changes are?
I'd be thrilled.
Okay. I'm
I
gonna-
didn't- there aren't very many,
Eric
actually.
is gonna help me, because he
Yeah.
did pretty much the same thing. The first change I found was under skilled nursing facilities, and in the first line, there's language added, often a wing of a NF. And I assume an NF is a nursing facility?
I believe so.
Okay.
It's defined up above,
Yeah.
skilled nursing facility.
Yeah.
You defined it, because we talked about that last, under purpose, it's defined.
Okay, good. All right, so that's the acronym, okay. The other change is actually in the next paragraph, where it talks about these facilities are to be billed to the life safety. NFPA 101 is adopted by the Commissioner of the Department of Safety and as amended by RSA 151.
Yes.
Okay,
That's-
that was the
that's
second
added.
change.
Hold on 1 second. I have another change that you didn't catch.
Okay, go
Under the
ahead.
definitions of skilled nursing home facilities, they added HEP 800
Where is that?
in addition.
Third line.
Definitions.
Under definitions, under paragraph C,
On the C.
on the
yeah.
first page.
Third
First
line from the
page?
top.
This one, that's
Okay,
added,
gotcha.
HEP 800.
Yep, okay,
Which is
thank
fine.
you.
I think we had
Yeah.
talked about that at the
Right,
last
right,
time.
we did.
too. Right, I'm sorry, so then,
Okay,
so we're done with page 1.
okay. So the other thing, under the definition of dementia on page 2, there's a new sentence at the end that says these facilities are billed to Life Safety Code NFPA 101 is adopted by the Commissioner of Safety and is amended by RSA 153.
And let me interrupt you again for a second. The paragraph above that, memory care facilities, that's new. You
Right.
well on that.
Did I miss that?
Yes. Under the memory care facilities, again, it references chapter HEP 800 and part
Yeah.
HEP 805, which wasn't. And then further down, it also says, a memory care units provide 24 hours supervised care and can be a standalone facility,
Okay, I got
which
that.
wasn't part of the original thing, which
Okay.
is, I'm fine with all that.
Okay. So, is everybody clear on paragraph C? And then in D, permitted uses was combined, nursing homes and skilled nursing facilities were combined, which
Correct.
makes sense.
Well, and that's how we are defining it.
Right.
That's consistent.
Memory care that's fine. Under design development standards, under the development cap, the reference is made to the NH or NF slash SNF district,
Yep.
which wasn't here previously, which is all very good.
Yep.
And that's all I found, unless there was something else, Eric, that
Um,
you picked up on that I didn't.
Under the development review process, first paragraph.
Yeah,
The last sentence, project plans need to be submitted to the State of New
Oh.
Hampshire Residential Care and Health Lights Facility. That's a new
that's perfect.
sentence, which complies with what we'd said earlier.
Right,
About-
they have to be,
Where was
Um,
that one?
Development,
under one,
page 3,
Paragraph
1.
one.
Oh,
the
3,
last-
okay. We have top, almost the last sentence. Okay.
That last sentence.
yeah,
I think which is all consistent with our intent anyways.
yeah.
That we want them licensed by the state.
Yeah.
And that-
It's under
the first paragraph on
On
the
page
top of the
3.
page on page 3.
F1.
So under F1, yeah.
F1.
Last paragraph.
The last sentence, project plans need to be submitted to the State of New Hampshire Residential Care and Health Facility Licensing for
Okay.
approval. That wasn't part of our original package. So those are the changes that I gleaned from reading through it. There might be one or two that we missed, but I don't think there's anything substantial there. I think it's
I can have-
defining more what we had done. Yep.
I can have Scott redline it for Diane if you want. I didn't,
Or I can do it.
I didn't know, I
Yeah.
didn't know honestly Diane was on vacation.
Right.
So I tried to call her a few times and then I realized it, so.
That's fine, we're good. We got
That's
through
fine.
it. There really weren't that many
That was fine,
changes.
Gary.
That was
So
fine.
one last thing that I didn't put in here because I didn't think it was appropriate, but what the consultant did tell me, and I think it would be good for planning board to know, because we started talking about the logistics. So we talked about, cleaning clothes and the types of vehicles that come in and come out, blah, blah, blah. And most of the vehicles would be appropriate, I think, to New Road, like a UPS truck, large UPS truck. And then we got to food. And I assumed, and that's why you should never assume, I assumed that for food, it would be a commensurate type of truck, you know, a large truck, but not a double decker or
Right, like a box
something
truck
that
or
pulls
something.
300 appliances in my store. And the consultant called me and said she spoke, and I can get it for you if you really want, but there were like 2 or 3 facilities in the local area, most of which were not huge facilities. This was not like Riverwoods. And they all used 40-footers. So I was trying to envision this, because I told her about the bridge. I gave her a lay of the land, you know, when she was helping us, and explained why we were looking for this type of facility and how it would, you know, meet the character of the area and frankly be practical for the road. And then she said, well, make sure you can get the truck in there for food. That was, it kind of came late, and I was like, okay. And I started thinking, well, can you mandate, you know, what a facility does? And that's why I didn't put it in there. I wanted to just bring it to your attention. I didn't think he could.
Right, I agree with that.
Tell them how to get their food there.
Right.
They sure as heck can't get over that bridge, because if you bring a 40-footer in there, you're not gonna bring a truck over that, I think it's a 6-ton bridge.
It's a
if memory
6-ton
serves.
bridge, but that's up to the driver too.
So the only reason I bring this up is I think it would be important to know how many trucks a week that they might have to bring food in. And if there's any other things that weren't on my mind. I thought of laundry, I thought of, you know, the types of, I don't want to get into specifics,
Medical.
cabinets and
Yeah.
all the medical supplies they need and whatnot. I figured most of that could be addressed with, you know, a normal vehicle. But food apparently, because they make a bunch of rounds, so it's not like they're just bringing food to one facility. So I'm bringing that to your attention because I don't know how New Road would, I know they're planning on, I was told they were gonna start July 1st on the paving. I think that turned into maybe, is it gonna happen, you know?
I thought I saw an email that it was supposed to start in the evening. I thought it was supposed to start Sunday evening, and I haven't seen an
Okay,
update since then.
That's nice to know. But all that said, you know, so they're gonna redo the road at some point. You know, they were supposed to start with half of it and then the other. So, and they're not gonna be rebuilding, I think you know, if anyone knows, Eric, they're not gonna be making this road worthy for, you know, truck traffic to that
Right.
degree. So would one truck really affect it? I'm not really sure, I don't think so. But I don't know how many deliveries they're gonna be making, and I think it would be something that you'd wanna at least think about, because it's a pretty rural road. There's a lot of people who walk dogs, a lot of people that bike, and I can see in a few of those areas with some of those vehicles, you know, those big trucks that come into my place, I wouldn't wanna see them, when I say I wouldn't wanna see them, I think they would have some navigation issues in certain areas on that road. It would be, you know, something that they'd have to address.
I agree, it may be an
So-
impediment to an ultimate.
So I just thought I'd bring it up because I don't know how that goes, but it was I was surprised that they use such large vehicles, so.
Just to let you know, as part of the site review process and the special use permit process, the planning board will be looking at that issue. And we may perhaps recommend that a traffic engineer give us some advice on whether the roads are adequate and what size would be appropriate and how we might regulate that.
Well, that's a-
That's a very good point.
Developer will probably predetermine that before they would even look at the site.
Yeah, I would think they'd have to do a study, but I just figured, you know, I didn't think it was appropriate
No,
for
it's a valid
document,
point.
but I thought it was something that you should know about.
I agree, it could be a huge impediment.
If there's any further questions, you can certainly give them to Diane, she can ask me or Scott, it doesn't matter to me.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Would you like to sit, come on up, ma'am, please?
Claudia Thatcher, 184 New Road. I was just following what Gary said, and I drove a truck for a long time. A 24-foot box truck with a sleeper on it, so it was quite large. When we came home to New Road with the truck, my husband and I drove, we never could go across the bridge. We had to go all the way around the other way. And there is no way, I've seen large trucks go across there. They shouldn't be allowed to go across there, but they do.
I agree, they're not allowed to.
No,
They break the law.
but they do all of that.
Yes, absolutely, yep.
But, the bridge can only stand so much, so whatever happens, happens. But I do want to comment not only on that, but my son-in-law works for, he's an LNA, but kind of, he lives way up north, so he can do more than an LNA. I don't know what you want to call it, but anyway. He's an extended LNA, let's put it that way, because up north they don't have a lot of facilities and a lot of help and a lot of people. They're always looking for help in every care facility in the state. Even in Exeter, you go by the gardens there. Churchill's. And that home right there, there's a sign out there all the time. LPNs wanted, CNAs wanted, RNs wanted. I mean, we can't get the help fast enough. It's gonna be the same way here. It's not gonna be any different here with a skilled facility as it will with a regular nursing home. And my son-in-law works for a state facility. Plus, they have another facility, this is up in Berlin, in no man's land. And he just switched to per diem because he can make more money, because nobody wants to work. And they're crying for help everywhere. So I just want to bring that to your attention because it's going to be the same way with a skilled facility nursing place.
Yeah, and I say that anybody's developing such a
We're all
site,
getting older,
take
and
that
us
into
are getting
account.
younger,
Right.
and those skilled facilities are going to be necessary, but also the help isn't there.
Yep.
It's a job for a special person. Not everyone can do that job.
Agreed.
That's
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
So just for consistency, down on the bold, section 32-162.
Where are you at?
Scott Hogan's.
Scott Hogan's.
Section 32162?
Yeah, it
Okay.
says skilled nursing facility overlay district. So this is gonna be the name of the district, correct?
Well, unless
Well,
the
as
board wants to
proposed.
change it to something else.
Okay, well, let's just stay with this one.
Yes.
This is pretty
Okay.
good.
Yep.
Yep.
So overlay district should be capitalized?
Yep.
Okay, because that's the noun of it, right?
Right.
Yep, that's the
And
title
then
of
under
it.
purpose, that should be repeated, should be the intent of the skilled nursing facility overlay district. And then do the acronym after that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
SNFOD, not NF.
Not NF.
Right, because it's the district we're talking about under the purpose.
Right.
So take
Okay.
out make up our own,
Well, not-
SNF is what,
Well, it should be SN, if you want an acronym, the name of the district is the skilled nursing facility overlay district.
right, so it's
The acronym
SNF.
OD for the district, SNFOD. Skilled nursing facility overlay district, because we're gonna repeat that later.
Okay, that's fine.
So then we come down to, I think that was really the only, I just wanted to say for consistency, we should be consistent on that. So when you get into the development cap on page 2, under E,
Yep.
it-
Yes.
it's
Should
the
be
SNFOD.
Yep.
I think it's too long. I
That's
would just
pretty
say
long.
SNF overlay district and
Yeah, we can
call it
spell it
what
out,
it
that's
is. I
fine.
just,
Yeah,
Yep.
that's fine.
also there's a connotation with OD.
I didn't think about that.
Not a very positive one.
Yeah, but so that we're just consistent.
Yep,
Fine with that.
that's good.
Anybody have any other?
So in that case, Diane, you're gonna move the acronym to after SNF. under purpose.
Mm-hmm,
Okay, and then spell out overlay district.
that's correct. Big caps.
Yep.
Go ahead, Rosie.
I had a question. We had a bench downtown engraved for one of our gardeners, Annalisa. And
Michael Pelzar was down, and he was telling us how he goes up to Riverwoods a lot, because that's the business he's in, and that's the business they're in. And I know that every time there's a medical call, that we have to send an ambulance with a fire truck. And I'm just wondering, we have a volunteer fire department, and I know that last month, out in the garden, there were a few trucks coming in from Durham, that they had to call some people in, and I remember reading it in the newsletter that we didn't have enough people to get here on time. Is this going to tip us over the edge that we're going to have to get full-time fire department personnel and hire, because we only have 2 full-time EMTs that only work a straight 40-hour week. The rest of the time, it's all volunteer work. And we're very fortunate to have that. But I'm wondering, what is the amount of calls that a 75-bed unit tends to get? Can we get a comparison on that to see if it's going to, because we can barely do what we're doing now. So that's a good point to know if we're going to have to, and if we have to hire full-time fire departments, then we've been going through with the CIP, the $260,000 to fix the upstairs at the fire department to house them, we're going to have to do that. So it's, it's something to consider and to get some information on, I think.
It's a good question.
Yep.
I don't know what impact we can have on it, but, it's valid. It's certainly something worth knowing.
Well, if it's
It's a municipal impact that needs to be looked at.
Exactly,
Yeah, I agree.
so it's something that we can incorporate into the special use permit.
I agree. So if there's no more comments or questions, then the plan will be to, with your consent, push this to the September meeting for a public hearing. That was our game plan.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that? Okay, we'll set it up for a public hearing, our meeting in September.
Which will be, we have a calendar here. We used to have a calendar on the
Which will be September 12th. Right.
So Diane, when when we have all these edits and whatnot, can we just get this online for people that are interested, or?
Yeah, what we do is, I'll make the red line copy, and I'll send out the red line copy along with the new copy, the marked up copy. And we'll put together a packet, we'll put it in the correct format for an ordinance change, so that after the public hearing, if the board's so inclined, we can forward it to the town council for them to incorporate in chapter 32.
Sounds good.
Another question, you said at our last meeting that you were going to inform the Conways about the revisions of the lines. Have you done that and heard back?
We have not heard anything back. We sent them a letter indicating that within 30 days, we would be making that change. That was sent out July 17th, so it's not quite 30 days.
Okay.
So I thought, since there's no real urgency, I thought we could hold off and do that at the meeting, the merger at the meeting on September 12th and take care of that. But I do have all the paperwork ready to go for Steve to sign.
Okay,
And we have not heard a peep from the Conway group.
okay. If there is concern on their end and they have questions, and would there be a delay? Would we maybe have to delay the public hearing as well to?
It's not a public hearing, because mergers don't require public hearing.
Okay, okay,
But
Do
could
the
very well
abutters
be.
get notified?
No,
Oh, so it's just a
okay,
non-issue.
It's a procedural.
okay.
but I haven't heard anything, and I'll check with legal counsel
Okay.
tomorrow, but I don't believe anything has been
All right.
said about it.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's good.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you all. Now, new old business.
Can we just give thanks on behalf of the planning board to Mr. Levy?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've spent some of your own money here dealing with attorneys and certainly a lot of your time. So appreciate the input.
Good point.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
It is,
Thank you, Mr. Levy.
We appreciate the revisions.
yeah, very good.
Oh, just to, can I mention just really quick?
Yes, please come up.
Just with respect to this, number one, and it could be a nice area if everything works out, the revenue that the town would be getting would be much more substantial in general than, a more basic facilities. So I just want everybody to know that the goal of this was to bring financial reward to the town for the investment it made years ago on the land over there. So these facilities are generally paid for. I don't want to use a blanket statement, but it's not just Medicare, Medicaid. There's a lot of private pay, and they tend to, I think, bring more revenue to the town, and they're more valuable properties. And one last thing, just based on the master plan, and I'm just mentioning it because the consultant sent me a very nice article that I just thought of. I think we put in the master plan something about people aging in place and being able to stay in their home. There are now companies, and I have this and I can forward it to Diane and she can look at it and show it, give it to you folks if you're interested, but there are companies that are focusing on having, all they do is go to people's homes and take care of the basics to help them stay. It's like Meals on Wheels only for profit, but they provide a really good service. So I think the whole industry is going to be looking for different ways to address the challenge we have with the aging, because it is very difficult to get help. It really is. For all these facilities, I've heard that over and over again. So it's a real challenge. So I'm just suggesting that, I think it addressed the revenue need, and there will be other, this didn't really bring revenue, this other alternative to the town, because the town's going to make some money off the land. But I'm just letting you know that there are going to be other competitors, so to speak, for these types of facilities, particularly for people that are really in pretty good shape. Instead of having to go to assisted, they can have people come and assist now.
And
So-
just to add to that, because we were looking at that for my mother, and she's in a memory care unit in Illinois. But those people that come into the homes, they will actually come in for Alzheimer's patients as well and stay 24 hours. I mean,
Yeah.
you get paid for that service as well, so, yeah.
It's going to be a new industry.
It is.
It really is, and so I just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah.
Because it's-
Visiting Angels, remember that commercial? Visiting Angels.
There's also
Only it's
organizations.
for-profit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I
organizations
think there's a
pushing
little
for
profit
laws.
motive there, too.
There's
Yeah.
organizations pushing for changes in the laws, because if you have someone at home right now and you're the caregiver, you don't get compensated.
No.
They'll
Right.
pay you to put you in a facility, and the caregivers are getting upset because they're doing all the work.
If you're a
with their
family
loved
member.
one.
Yep. Mhm.
And so that's coming down the road.
Yep.
in a lot of states.
I remember hearing that.
And I know New Hampshire, there's a group that's maybe pushing that through their senators.
Yeah.
Truthfully, to try to find an attorney that knew all of this was almost impossible. I had to go to people that ran facilities, and that's how I found the person who could help me, because people just don't know the rules. I mean, it's just,
Well, it's new for
it's a
everybody.
girth of
Yeah.
pages to try to get through. So anyway, I just wanted to mention it.
Thank you.
Thank
Gary.
you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate all your work on it. New and old business. Does anybody have any old business they want to talk about? Anybody have any new business we need to talk about?
Just that we're going to be trying to get a subcommittee meeting together for the stormwater regulations, and I sent out an email to Peter and Gretchen, who's not here this evening, but we'd like to try to get that started maybe the third week or fourth week of August, and hopefully have something to report on at the meeting on September 12th.
Okay, good. Chairman's report, I have nothing to say. Don't all smile. Committee's report, any committee reports? Probably been quiet this summer, right?
I have a
Town council?
short council
Sure.
report. So the council met on July 19th. I wasn't present, but I did call in. And so we approved two resolutions. One was in regard for the McAllen Dam for a stability analysis, design conceptual plans for the abutment walls. So that's moving forward. And then the other one was for the town administrator entering into a 3-year agreement with First Light, which is the phone communication systems. And we also approved that as well, so.
Great. Anybody have anything else?
I don't know if I mentioned at our last meeting that the gardeners in town that are taking care of the public gardens have a new name.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you did,
No, you
No,
did not.
because I don't think we were legal at that point, but the wall garden, the Jerry Ave, the golf course garden, and the cannon garden are all being maintained by caregivers from a group called Blooming Newmarket.
That's
Okay.
great.
So, and we've been busy. We've been replanting.
They do. They
Well,
do.
the golf course, we got woodchucks and we got mice, and they're eating everything in sight.
Pesticides if you need some.
I'm ready to get a high-powered BB gun. I know.
Taser gun.
Yeah.
I know. And then conservation, they're looking into information on Shanda Park, because they have to fix the retaining walls there, and they don't know what to do. And Diane, you said you had some information about the
All I know
grant.
is that there is some grant money out there that could possibly be applied for to help with that.
But the stipulation regarding if we change the
Oh, okay,
footprint,
yes.
so I
That
could,
project, Shanda Park was built, I don't know, late 70s, and it was an LWCF, Land and Water Conservation Fund grant from the National Park Service. And in that program, they have what they call the 6F boundary requirement, where you cannot take away land area from a property that benefited from NPS funding under that program without providing an equal amount of land of equal recreation value elsewhere in the community. And I know the state went through that with some property down in Newcastle, where the Commons is, the beach, and we also went through that in Concord. So just want people to be aware that if we make it smaller in any way, reduce the size of the recreation resource, an equal amount of land area has to be provided
we have to
elsewhere
mitigate it,
for.
yeah.
Or else the money has to be paid back to the federal government, probably with interest.
Are they thinking it would be smaller because of new retaining walls?
well, if they put retaining walls in and do them, straight, it would retain the same footprint. But if you do what Rivermore, is it Rivermore?
Yeah.
Rivermore did, they put the riprap out, and so that might take away accessibility to the area, and then also that boat ramp, would it be the town council that would, I know we talked to Fish and Game before about the boat ramp, and we were this close to having Fish and Game do something there, but they wanted to do it with the bollards and all that to a certain width, and we wanted to keep it historic the way it is now, the double width, because the erosion there, you get down to the asphalt, you probably see it, Peter, because you live right there. There's a drop of about 8 inches, and all the sediment and sand is running right down into the water there, and you could dredge that and probably come up with 6 extra feet. It's been doing it for years. So I don't know if the town council has to get involved with Fish and Game to fix that, because the erosion is horrendous, so. But conservation's really looking into a lot of stuff down there.
When the state was working, Fish and Game was working on the public access improvement there,
Yeah,
they did hire an engineer who was putting together a plan for stormwater management. They were talking about rain gardens and to help deal
Yeah.
with that erosion problem that you were
Yeah.
referring to. So, but that plan never came to pass for
Yeah.
the reasons you stated. So
So-
I don't know if there's a possibility now, if they have funds available through that program.
Well, there is someone from Newmarket that sits on that committee, I think.
There
Fish and
was.
Game has like a whole committee
Yeah.
of representatives.
There
Is that
was.
someone that we could reach out
Dennis,
to?
Oh, that's happened.
Dennis Abbott was their representative. I don't know if he still is.
maybe I'll give him a call. And, yeah, I mean, I think it would be great, Amy, if the town council took a site walk down there and took a look at that boat ramp, because it
Talk to
is,
Steve about it at all?
no.
No,
but
I
it's-
can
it's-
ask him about it.
I'll do my rounds tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do your rounds.
I'm
Everybody
telling
watching
ya.
at home, beware.
I'm like, oh, they see me and they start running, but I got my hit list. No, they're very good. The town's been great. Everyone, Public Works and everyone's been phenomenal helping us out, getting everything done.
Well,
All right.
Roseanne and Amy, there's some questions coming up about Heron Point, that it's not being accessible to the public right now.
Yeah.
And can that be looked at both levels?
I think Steve's looking at that now.
Well,
Yeah,
I won't
he's
go, I won't
looking
say
at it
anything
now.
else, but, and there's solutions that probably can be worked on. But, I don't know what the easement says either. You know,
Yeah,
that's
that's-
another thing. The easement, probably have to look out to see how the easement was written,
Yeah,
you know, but I mean, that's something that could,
yeah.
Heads
I
up if
understand there's some
somebody
boulders put because there was traffic going in
Well, I
and
can
out, and the
understand
gate
that
was
if I was-
locked, and someone was supposed to unlock it, and a woman there is supposed to have the key that lives right close by and open and close the gate, but I'm sure we'll discuss that Thursday night, because there's been a lot of emails going back and forth with the members, and they're looking into it, but,
Very good.
okay.
All righty.
oh, motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. See you all in a month.